Hi, my name is Tyler. I'm trans male. I've been out for about 9 years now, and I was kicked out of a rugby team because of the RFU's gender participation policy.
It's depriving someone of playing rugby on, tomorrow, when today they could play.
I was like, I didn't know who I would be without the sport that I loved.
Rugby is a game loved by so many for so many different reasons. However, the sport doesn't always love you back. After the Rugby Football Union placed a blanket ban on transgender players, some were left alone without the sport they enjoyed playing. One of these players is Tyler Bunce, a transgender male, and this is how he was affected by this policy.
Essentially, when it first came into effect, a lot of it was you're just excluded from the sport just because you're trans. They have since changed that, but it affected a minority that just wanted to play rugby. And this is just on the trans women's side as well. It's like you've only affected that small few people who aren't even playing in the big professional leagues, winning all the Prem titles, stuff like that. They're just playing grassroots on a Saturday morning.
According to a mental health survey carried out by the Trevor Project, 72% of transgender youths that experienced gender-based discrimination had considered suicide between 2023 and 2024.
So I rejoined rugby. I used to play a lot back in school and stuff. My uncle got me into it before he then passed away and stuff. So it meant a great deal to me, playing the sport that I love and stuff. We had season tickets, all of that. And then as soon as I had read the rule coming into effect and stuff, I said to my coach, I was like, look, I need to tell you this, this big thing's come about it. And it's like, can I still play? Because that's really all I cared about. I didn't want to be professional or anything like that. I just play for fun. It's an outlet for my mental health and stuff like that. And she said, we're going to have to look into it, see the rules and stuff. I got home and I had a text on my phone. It was like, we need to suspend you from all training, all playing, with immediate effect.
Suicide Prevention UK says that 84% of trans people have considered suicide as well as thoughts of self-harm. So, are there any outlets for trans rugby players? The answer is yes, as Simon Chapman tells us more.
Yeah, so Northampton Outlaws, we're an inclusive rugby team based in Northampton in England. We're there for anyone who wants to get into rugby. Specifically, we target the LGBTQ plus community because we feel they've been deprived in the past of opportunities to play team sports, but we are open to anybody and everybody that wants to play.
Just because of something that I can't help, I'm now completely alienated. I felt very isolated. I kind of became a recluse in myself, really, and I really struggled with self-harm and suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. And I really just I'd completely lost myself.
According to Stonewall, nearly half of the transgender population in the UK have attempted suicide at least once in their lives.
I was just stuck in the middle here of I can't play on the men's team because of the gender participation policy, but I can't play on the women's team either because I'm already on hormones. So I really just got kicked out of the sport and the community that I grew up with and really loved.
Often we always say, the benefits of team sports on mental health, physical health, are incredible and well publicised for everything. And a lot of people, especially within the LGBTQ plus community, have been deprived of that opportunity in the past for one reason or another, and there could be many reasons. And they may find it difficult to get into a sporting community and to get the benefits that you get from being within a sports club and the camaraderie around it, but also the links and the friendships that you make in those, and also connections for work or other reasons. If you need someone to go and get something done around the house, then you might have that, the person you can just call on that isn't that wider friendship group that you wouldn't have if you didn't have that team. And so basically it's giving an opportunity for them to find a path into it where they wouldn't have been able to get into it themselves in any other way. So rather than waiting for them to go and walk into the door of somewhere, we're holding the door open and welcoming them in first. And then they can decide what they want to do once they're inside.
And it really felt like a new family, really, like a new home and stuff. And I felt like I actually belonged, while still being able to bring my passion in and like share those experiences, you know.
Despite the RFU's policy, there is another governing body called International Gay Rugby, who are a network of rugby clubs that provide a space where everyone can belong.
So IGR, it's been under a few different names over the years. It sort of develops and goes through things. It's currently called International Gay Rugby. The term gay in that respect is an umbrella term for anyone within the LGBTQ+ group. It did, obviously initially it's mainly been men's rugby, but it has developed into touch rugby, women's rugby and other forms of the game as well. And basically it's an umbrella group for any club around the world that wants to be a part and to stand out as being an LGBT inclusive club.
You might be wondering if IGR inclusive teams are hard to come across. Well, the IGR has over 100 teams on 6 different continents, and you can find your closest one on their website.
We always strive to have a bigger social element and everything else around the club, so it wasn't just purely rugby. And I will say initially we didn't quite have the bodies to be able to do that. Yes, we had good rugby and we had good social amongst the people that were playing rugby, and we had, you know, partners or the odd social supporter type person, but we didn't quite have enough reach and enough growth to be able to do more. But in recent years we have exploded with growth, and we now have a very vibrant social side of the club, which is, it's together but it's also separate. So they do additional things all on their own as like separate groups. And similarly we have like a mixed little social badminton group that take part on Thursdays, and they've been going for over a year now. And it's about trying to find ways to build the community rather than just stagnate as we just play rugby and we just do that and we train and we play and then we just go and drink as a team.
It's not just the trans rugby players that have been affected. Tyler's partner Aggie has also noticed the change since the policy came into effect.
When he's at rugby, he is great. He gets to have his outlet, whether it's minor, major, depending on how life is. But realistically, that is his biggest outlet. If he doesn't even go to training for one weekend, you know about it. And it's more just getting that mild aggressions out, whether it's work stuff, life stuff that he doesn't want to talk about. But it's something that he has that's available to him freely. It's harsh. It's extremely harsh because it's not just taking that occupation out of the day of the week for someone, but it's taking that identity away from someone at the same time.
If you or someone that you know has been affected by the topics mentioned in this documentary, it is important that you know you are not alone. On screen now are multiple different helplines that you can reach out to. Also, for LGBTQ+ specific headlines like Mindline Trans Plus, they're only just a call away.